Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Nice.
Okay, so today we're diving into something that, might seem kind of basic on the surface, English vocabulary.
Right.
But I think we're going to find out there's a lot more to it.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got some source material here that breaks things down into these vocabulary levels. You ever heard of this?
Absolutely, yeah. It's really common, especially for people learning English as a second language, to think about it in terms of levels. And we've got this this framework. It's called the CEFR.
The CEFR.
Yeah, the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages.
Okay. So it's for all languages.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
They've tried to standardize it across different languages.
So it's kind of like leveling up in a video game or something.
It's exactly, yeah. Like you start at the beginning.
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And so where's the beginning?
So the very beginning is A1. That's like the beginner level.
Okay. So what kind of words are we talking here? Like what, give me some examples.
So at the A1 level, you're really talking about basic communication, like how to introduce yourself,
Right.
how to, ask for directions or order food.
So like real survival stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Very practical vocabulary.
Okay.
You would know some really basic nouns, like a passport.
Right. To get you around.
Yeah, exactly. Some simple adjectives. You'd be able to say this is difficult.
I'm lost.
Yeah, I'm lost. I need help.
Very important stuff.
Exactly.
But not having like deep philosophical conversations quite yet.
Not quite yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the next level then?
So the next level up from A1 is A2.
Okay.
And at this point, you're still working on those basic communication skills.
Okay.
But you're starting to expand your vocabulary a little bit more.
So give me some examples of some A2 words.
Sure. So you might be able to, complain about something.
Oh, very important.
Yeah. Very important life skill. You might know the word charity.
Okay. So starting to get a little more abstract, maybe.
A little bit, yeah. Ancient.
Okay.
You'd be able to talk about history a little bit.
That's cool. So it's not just sort of like concrete things anymore. You can start to kind of get into some bigger topics.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So we've gone from A1 to A2. Where do we go from there?
So the next step up is B1.
B1.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What happens at B1?
So at B1, things start to get a little bit more challenging.
Okay.
You're starting to be able to express yourself with more nuance.
Okay.
You might learn a word like headline.
Okay. So we're talking current events now.
Yeah.
All right.
A word like accommodation. You're able to, book your own travel.
Nice. So this is getting very practical.
Yeah.
For people who are maybe traveling to an English-speaking country.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you start to really grapple with those phrasal verbs.
Oh, yeah, those are tough.
They are, yeah. Like instead of just absorb, you learn soak up.
So it's not just about expanding the number of words you know.
Right,
It's also like how you put them together.
Exactly. You're getting a little more natural with it.
Okay, yeah. Starting to sound more like a native speaker, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So where do we go from there?
So from B1, you move on to B2.
B2.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're getting serious.
Yeah.
So what happens at B2?
So at B2, you're moving beyond just basic communication.
Okay.
You're starting to be able to participate in debates, understand humor.
Wow. Okay. So now we're having fun.
Yeah.
All right. What kind of words are we talking about?
So you might know a word like inquiry.
Okay.
To disguise.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. Prohibits. You can talk about rules. And at this level, you're also, you're really starting to understand how context affects the meaning of words.
Yeah, because disguise could be a fun Halloween costume, or it could be, something more serious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're starting to, pick up on those nuances.
Okay, so we're getting pretty advanced here.
We are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So it's like we've moved beyond just like the nuts and bolts of the language,
Yeah.
and now we're getting into like, okay, I can really start to express myself.
Yeah.
Okay. So where do we go from there? What's beyond B2?
So beyond B2, you get into the C levels. So that's C1 and C2.
Okay, C1 and C2. So this is like the expert levels.
Yeah. This is where you're really starting to get into fluency mastery.
Okay.
So at the C1 level, you might know a word like bland
Okay.
to describe food,
Mhm.
or you understand a word like curfew, and you understand, not just the dictionary definition, but also like the implications, the nuances.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's more than just knowing what the word means.
Yeah.
It's knowing how to use it properly in different contexts.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And you're also at this level, you're starting to use some more complex grammar.
Okay.
You might use a phrase like on account of to explain something, or all the more.
Okay.
Emphasis.
Right.
You're comfortable using idioms.
Okay.
Like out on a limb.
Out on a limb. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're really starting to sound like a native speaker at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So that's C1.
Yeah.
What about C2?
So C2, that's like the peak.
The peak.
You've reached the summit of vocabulary mountain.
Okay. Mount vocabulary. I like that.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to be at the C2 level?
So at the C2 level, you can basically communicate with native-like fluency in almost any situation.
Wow. Okay.
You might know a word like auspicious.
Auspicious. All right.
Exacerbate.
Yeah.
Like when a problem gets worse.
Right.
You're able to, understand very subtle humor.
Okay.
Critique other people's ideas. Maybe use a word like scoff.
Right.
But, hopefully always with respect.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is really impressive.
It is, yeah.
So we've gone from like, A1, just the basics to like really, really sophisticated use of language.
Yeah.
Okay. So for our listener out there, I mean, what does all this mean? Why is this important?
That's a great question. I think one of the main reasons that this is important is because it can really help you when you're learning a language.
Okay.
If you're trying to learn from materials that are at like a C2 level, but you're really at like an A2 level,
right?
It's going to be really difficult.
Yeah, you're going to get frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think it's really important to be aware of your own level.
Okay.
And to choose materials that are appropriate for your level.
So it's not just about getting to the highest level possible as quickly as possible.
Right.
It's about finding the right level for you.
Exactly.
At this moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as you progress, you're going to open up all sorts of new possibilities. You'll be able to understand more complex ideas,
right.
Communicate more effectively,
yeah.
Connect with more people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's almost like expanding your world.
Yeah.
In a way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And there's also, I mean, there's practical benefits too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like if you're applying for jobs, or if you're you're in school.
Yeah.
Having a strong vocabulary can really help you.
Yeah. It can. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how can our listener, how can they start expanding their vocabulary today?
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that they can do?
Well, there's so many different things. I mean, you can read.
Okay.
You can watch movies.
Right.
You can listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Play word games.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Just pay attention to the language that you encounter in everyday life.
Right. So make it a game, make it a challenge.
Exactly. Yeah. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Right.
It's all part of the learning process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I feel like we've really kind of climbed this mountain of vocabulary here.
Yeah.
From the basics all the way to like the super advanced stuff.
Absolutely.
But before we wrap up, I want to kind of leave our listener with a thought here. We've talked about how, like the levels of vocabulary you have can affect how well you can communicate and understand things.
Right.
But what about the words we choose?
That's a great point. Yeah.
Like, does that say something about us?
I think it does. Yeah.
Okay.
If you think about your vocabulary as like a toolbox,
okay,
the words that you choose are the tools that you're using to build your thoughts and to express yourself.
Okay.
So, think about the words that you use most frequently.
Right.
Do you tend to use more formal language or informal language?
Right.
Do you like to use idioms and slang?
Okay.
Or do you prefer to be more direct?
So it's almost like your own personal style.
Yeah. It's like a linguistic fingerprint.
Okay.
And I think, the more aware you are of your own kind of linguistic fingerprint,
right,
the better you can understand yourself.
Okay, yeah.
and how you communicate with others.
That's cool. And maybe even like discover new ways to express yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe there are some shades of meaning that you want to get across,
Yeah.
or some emotions that you want to express.
Okay.
And by expanding your vocabulary, you can find the words to do that.
So it's really like a lifelong journey.
It is.
This whole vocabulary thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So for our listener out there, if they're curious about their own vocabulary level,
Yeah.
are there ways that they can figure that out?
Oh yeah. There's tons of free online tests.
Okay.
They're pretty fun to do.
Okay.
And you can learn some new words along the way.
Always good. Always good. So no matter where you're at,
Yeah.
there's always room for improvement.
Absolutely.
Always good to learn new words.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, this has been really eye-opening, I think.
Yeah, me too.
I've learned a lot about vocabulary and how important it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I encourage our listener to keep learning.
Yes.
Pay attention to the words that you use.
Okay.
Pay attention to the words you see, the words you hear.
Yeah.
And just keep expanding that toolbox.
Yeah.
That linguistic fingerprint.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for joining us for another deep dive,
Thanks for having me.
and we'll see you next time.